Hi and welcome to Article Critiquing. This is a CBR.com article, 10 most common science errors in science fiction movies. As fascinating as sci-fi movies are, they get a number of things about science terribly wrong. My first issue with this article, they're talking about the science in a science fiction movie, whereas the title, or more correctly the genre, says it's fictional science, so made up science, which normally means something we don't have or something that's not real, but let's let that lie. Earth-like gravity. Okay, their example is Tatooine. I haven't checked if its mass is larger than Earth, so it would have a higher gravity, but for argument's sake, let's say it does. As they write, it's more probable for Tatooine to have a stronger gravity, meaning inhabitants can hardly walk or have to do so in a very labored manner. That is pretty stupid. First of all, if they live there, born and raised and have been living there, they're probably used to that kind of gravity. And also, if you came from a planet with much lower gravity where that would happen, where you would be labored just walking, you wouldn't live there or be there because it would be hard for you. If you then switch to health issues, yes, let's say you went to a planet with 3 times or 4 times the gravity. For us humans, that would quickly be a problem because all the blood would pool down in our legs and quickly give health issues. But if we jump back to real science again, humans can easily live within a spectrum. The gravity of the moon is the bare minimum of what we can do, not because it's too hard to lift or anything, but it's so low that as a human being, the way we're built, it's hard to keep your balance. If the moon's gravity was any lower, the astronauts would constantly fall over. Right now they only fall somewhat much, as you can see in the videos of it. And on the other side, we could easily live with a bit more gravity without really big issues, and we would get used to it. The thing that makes this a bit more stupid is we already live with a pretty decent gravity. So any planet smaller than this, our gravity would be pretty high, meaning we already live at a pretty good gravity, which would, for some people, if there were other people on smaller planets, would be high. So we are like the proof that that is a stupid sentence with the inhabitants could hardly walk or have to do so in a very labored manner. I know some people do that on Earth, mainly old people, but next, movement faster than the speed of light. Yes, and again, that is a science fiction thing, and I know the theoretical knowledge we got is, as they allude to, it's not really possible. But the problem here is neither is cryosleep or stasis or anything like that. So we have to figure a way for a science fiction, again fiction, movie for people to travel between planets. And since galaxies would take decades, hundreds of years, thousands of years, we have to make something that would be able to do that. If you had to do that correctly in every sci-fi movie with space, then yeah, pretty boring movie. Nothing would happen because everything was just way too far away. Yeah. Interspecies breeding. Again, yes, it would be very, very unlikely. It says it's impossible, but the problem is, as I say, but it's rare for 2 different species to even have the same type of womb. I know they might be alluding to aliens, but since we don't know, then theoretically life could evolve the exact same way on every planet, and it could be different. So the question of being compatible is, first of all, if you're gonna look at it in a science way, kind of nonsensical, because why would that even be a first thought of, we found aliens, other people on another planet, let's try to make a baby with them. Second of all, species can cross-breed. Not all, some. It has been seen, it has been done. The simplest is the donkey and the horse. You can do that. It's rare, and it has to be, I think it's a male horse and a female donkey or something. The short of the long is, it's not impossible, and evolution could make it. So that there is just a weird, very specific thing to complain about, since you don't know if there would be, like in Star Trek, another planet with very humanoid almost identical in even a lot of them. If it's like Star Trek and it's close enough to be just the same, maybe a different place of the heart or something, then it's not impossible. But let's go on. Invisibility, beside that being a stupid thing as soon as you try to think about it, yes, it's quite impossible. The fun thing is they go with, it's bending the light, so it would... They're going with, so it's bending the lights, which would make it impossible to see. Not only that, our eyes, the way they work is, we got our iris lenses reflecting light and stuff. If we went invisible, then light would pass through, it wouldn't be able to reflect, and since our vision needs the light to reflect on the lenses to hit the light nerves, you'd be blind. So yeah, that's the biggest problem with invisibility. If it worked in any sort of capacity, you would be blind no matter what. That's why it's fiction. The ability to breathe on any planet. Well, the fun thing is, no, they normally can't breathe on any planet. They got aliens showing up on Earth, yes, but most of them often have some kind of breathing apparatus. Sure, sometimes it's as simple as kind of a gas mask. Sometimes it's even weird or simple, like in Mars Attacks, where they eat nitrogen gum, I think it is. But yeah, theoretically, again, everything is theoretical. The air wouldn't be the same. The composition of the air would be different. The thing is, we know from divers in general that a lot of different combinations of gases and air can be used without just killing us outright. So the thing they do in those movies where they go with their sensors or anything going, well, the air is breathable. That just means, of course, Deus Ex Machina, that the air there has a combination where there's enough oxygen and other gas combinations that we can breathe, and it's not poisonous for us. And here with the aliens show up on Earth and have no trouble with the oxygen intake, and when humans head to other planets they also experience no such difficulties. Again, often they have oxygen mask something until they find somewhere where there's air, or the aliens come and, maybe they're prepared, maybe they're special. Like an eel, it needs water, but it can live on land for a long time before it goes back to water. Again, fiction. If you want a movie to move along, you need some plot conveniences. And if big, bulky spacesuits and a hunt for air is not what your movie is all about, then yeah, you make the air breathable. Number 5, explosions in space. Blah blah blah, stupid. Yes, no explosion in space, except, as I say, there's no air, but there might be air in the thing that explodes, and if there's air and gas and stuff, you would have at least a small explosion. Subliminal communications. Okay, to make a long story short, in many sci-fi movies and shows, they always talk about a communications array or drop-offs, buoys or something, so they get a stronger signal. Other times they use whatever they find, if it's a subspace signal, or they modify a laser to carry the signal. There's a lot of ways you theoretically could do, but yeah, all of them are always pretty precise and would be pretty easy to fail. The problem I've got here is they got a movie, Contact. It acknowledges the fact that radio frequency is shown getting older as the distance from Earth increases. Yeah, again, I don't want to check, but that's not necessarily science. That's something you saw in a science fiction movie and go, well, in this science fiction movie they told me, so it has to be true. It's like, no, please base your things on science if you want. Sound effects in space. I suspect there would still be sound inside this spaceship, but yeah, that's a film trope. That's just what it is. You need it to make the movie exciting. Teleportation, yes, depending on how you look at it. If you theoretically got the bending space and time, where you would just do like the Rosen-Einstein bridge or something, where you would walk through, then it wouldn't be copying and all kind of stuff, but still science and theoretical. And the one they're talking about in best worst case scenario, it would be like the Prestige, where it would just make a carbon copy of the person and you would have two people That would not be a nice way to travel. Unless you needed people, of course. Intergalactic travel, again, a bit the same as speed of light. Again, this is taking something from a fictional movie and shooting it down with theoretical science. So yeah, wormholes, pretty theoretical, could be dangerous. Maybe you could harness them, you don't know. It's impossible to say since we don't have them, we don't know it. So again, this is a weird complaint because it's, again, just a movie plot point. It's how you move the movie along. I don't see how that's a problem if we don't have it yet, and if we only have theoretical ideas about what is and isn't possible since we are nowhere near it, then you can't really say it's something they're getting wrong. So I'll do a quick one. The last one, we can't say it's wrong when we don't know enough to be able to consider it junk science or plausible. The same with teleportation. There's no way to tell if it would be a possibility, so you can't tell how wrong they are. Sound effects, well, there would be sounds inside the ships. Communication, we could be able to make faster communication, but yeah, if you're years away from home, it would take some time. Just look at the telephone, speaking with someone on the other side of the Earth. Explosion in space, well, depends on how much oxygen there are. Ability to breathe on planets, depends on the composition of the air. We don't know yet. Invisibility, well, impossible. Interspecies breeding, we haven't met aliens, so whether or not they evolved just close to us, no one knows. Faster than light, theoretically impossible, who knows? Earth-like gravity, again, it depends on the size of the planet and the mass of the planet, so as long as it's within a spectrum of livable, you could do it. And just to reiterate, the inhabitants of a planet will be able to live there, even if they live on Mars or they live on Jupiter. If they can live there, they live there. And it's not going, oh my god, this is heavy to walk around. Because they lived there their whole lives, for generations probably.